Hi, this is Barry Livingston. You're watching Ken Boxer Live on TVSB.
Barry Livingston Realtor proudly presents Ken Boxer Live. From the American Riviera in Santa Barbara, California, it's Ken Boxer Live, Santa Barbara's one and only entertainment talk show. Let's welcome the host of the show, Ken Boxer.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm Ken Boxer, and this is Ken Boxer Live. We have a new co-host with us, joining us for the first time. She was a guest on our show, our last show, right now, and I just loved having her on the show previously, and I really was on my knees groveling and begging for her to become our co-host. And we have Pamelyn Ferdin, everybody, as our co-host. Welcome. It's nice to have you here as a co-host now.
I know, this is so exciting.
You know what's exciting is I heard that you have a book coming out still. It's coming out.
Well,
anytime.
my co-author and I signed with a premier literary agent, and she's very excited about my memoir, and we're very excited to have her representing the book. So knock wood, hopefully we'll get a publisher and you can all read it.
Oh yeah, we'll look forward to it. Absolutely. Before we get started, I want to thank some of our sponsors and some new sponsors for our show. An amazing sponsor that we have, an amazing realtor here in Santa Barbara, Terry Reichen, everybody. He's in the house tonight. We have him here. Also, one of our newest sponsors is the Wolf Museum of Exploration and Innovation, often referred to as the Moxie. They're now sponsors. And if that's not enough, we have Jackie Robertson, a psychotherapist here in Santa Barbara with a focus on trauma, grief, and loss, and love addiction.
Ooh.
Thank you, Jackie Robertson. Now, a few weeks ago, Pamelyn, there was the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, and I was lucky enough to work the red carpet, and we have just a really brief clip that I wanted to share with our audience so they can see what's in store for some upcoming shows we're going to be showing. So
okay.
let's watch a brief clip of the film festival. I'd like to ask just a couple quick questions. Is this your first time in Santa Barbara?
No, my family's from the area. I'm a Southern California native, and I've spent a lot of time here and love it very much.
Viewers want to know, when you're in Santa Barbara, what do you do when you're here?
I chill. I just chill.
And that's what we're doing now. We're chilling, right? Chilling with Pamelyn. Hey, tell us who's on the show. Who are you going to chill with?
Well, our guest is best known in the role of Ernie on the TV show My Three Sons. His career spans 60 years. He's an author. He's been on television, he's been in the movies, and he's been on Broadway. So, when we come back from our break, don't go away, because we're going to give a warm welcome to Barry Livingston.
Oh yeah.
Ken Boxer Live is brought to you by the following sponsors: Zodos, Bowling and Beyond, and Z's Tap House for the best in family entertainment. Gustafson DANCE, meeting the highest standards in dance training. The Eagle Inn, a family-owned hotel near the beach in Santa Barbara. And now, back to our show.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And welcome back. Joining us this evening has to be one of the most famous child actors in Hollywood. He's best remembered as Ernie on the iconic television show My Three Sons. Our guest also appears in motion pictures and on Broadway, and he's also a very accomplished author as he continues to remain a force in show business for over the last 60 years. Let's welcome to the show the very talented Barry Livingston, everybody. It almost took me 60 years to get through that intro.
Is it 60 years really? How's that possible? I'm only 52. I don't know how that could be.
I read somewhere that somehow acting started for you by going to a swimming class. Explain that.
Yeah, well, we used to go to a swim school on Hollywood Boulevard called Jen Lovin's Swim School, and it was in the 50s, and the baby boom was happening, and all the producers and directors and writers would go to this school, casting people with their kids. And so my mother, for lack of anything else to do, we would go there. And my brother was spotted by a casting director, not me. He was spotted, and he looked like the kid who was on Lassie. It was Tommy Rettig and little Timmy. And Timmy was supposed to fall into a pool or a river, and the actor couldn't swim. So they hired my brother to stunt double for him. And so, we just sort of backed our way into getting an agent, and he got his SAG card. In those days, you could walk in the Screen Actors Guild and just sign up, and of course my brother had to, and my mother said, well, sign him up too. And I was like, what? You're an actor, right? Okay, whatever. I was 4 years old, so sure, why not?
But you still have that smile that we all remember, don't we?
Yeah.
Pamelyn?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, okay,
Now, I read that your mother was a fan dancer and that your dad owned a theater. So were they encouraging you to go into the business?
Not into fan dancing, no. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, my mother was quite a colorful character. She had show business ambitions. Obviously, as a fan dancer, which that was pretty scandalous back in the day.
Yeah, today we call her a what?
I find it wonderful.
A stripper?
My mother was not Betty Crocker, more like Betty Page. Which was wonderful, and she was everybody loved her. All my friends thought she was great. So she was the force behind, the light bulb went off and thought, my kids could be in show business. And again, we just kept getting auditions. And first job I really got was following my brother into a producer's suite at 20th Century Fox for a film called Rally Round the Flag Boys with Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. And I wasn't there for, I was just hanging out with my brother. And he went in, he read. In those days, the producer would come out and they go, your boy's great, we're going to hire him. And they go, who's that little ragamuffin sitting there? And they go, well, that's his brother. And he goes, really? Does he act? And I'm going, yeah. And he said, well, oddly enough, there's supposed to be a little, his brother. And so I was, literally, that's how I got thrown into the business. But now let me finish that story. I was fired from that job too. Because while we were shooting, my eyes, I wasn't wearing glasses at the time, and we were on the set, and supposed to be watching a TV in the scene, and Paul Newman, the dad, comes in and says hi to the boys, the family, and we ignore him. We're just watching him. Well, anyway, to the camera and to the director, it looked like I was just looking around the room because I was focusing on a TV, but my eyes were wandering. And so it was an old-time director, a guy named Leo McCary, who was famous for directing Duck Soup with the Marx Brothers.
Yeah,
he went way back, screamed his head out. We're not watching it. So anyway, long story short, they took me to a hospital. They said, I need glasses. I have an astigmatism. I came back to the set, to the studio the next day, and they said, Barry's got to wear glasses. And the producers went, yeah, I didn't see Paul Newman's son with glasses. So I was literally like escorted off the lot at 4 years old, fired and crying.
Oh, that's sad.
Do you remember if you were crying?
I knew it wasn't a good day. I knew it was not a good thing to be let go. And Paul Newman was sweet. He was so sweet.
I heard he went into a television box, to get you to just
saw the
say your
director,
lines.
Steam coming out of his ears because we would do this 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and he would go, just watch TV, and I'm going, I'm watching the TV, and it would be, okay, cut, Barry, what's wrong? And so Newman said, look, you got me coming in the door, right? That establishes the scene, the kids on the sofa. Let's just go to a close-up of the kids. And he said, give me a puppet. Give me anything, And it was an old box TV with nothing in it, but he said, he climbed into the TV, and was waving at me and trying to keep my attention.
And it didn't work.
And I'm still liking that. I'm still not looking at it. And, even Paul's going, I don't know, something's happening here.
But your series, My Three Sons, how was it when you worked from a child up to a teen? You worked so long on that series. What was it like growing up on that series?
Okay, I'm trying to give you an intelligent answer here, but it probably is none. It just was a daily job. It was work. It was fun. It was, an extended family. We all got along great. Of course, Fred MacMurray set the tone. He was a very calm, professional, and that's how it was all executed. And everybody knew their role. MacMurray was the head of the CEO. We were the junior executives in the corporation, and he was, just a sweet man. And barely met him though, because they shot all around him. We worked out at 10 episodes a day, and when Fred was there for the first 4 or 5 weeks, they would shoot nothing but master shots with everybody in it. And then we'd just do his close-up, and then it would move on to the next scene.
And then you grow 2 inches.
And then you grow, and 6 months later, you would do your close-up to a script girl standing on an apple box, because he was 6'4".
Exactly.
So I have this who's Jackie Robinson? Is that the psychologist that in town here? I need to talk to her.
Oh, yeah.
I have this weird complex that I just don't know.
But
I don't know
we
what to
have
do.
a clip from you in My Three Sons. We've got to show it so everyone sees you back in the day in the 60s. I don't know when this was shot, somewhere early 60s, but let's watch Barry Livingston, everybody. My Three Sons.
Come on, Ernie, finish your dinner.
I'm worried about Dad.
He's got some important work to get out.
At dinner time, what's more important than dinner?
You know why Dad didn't come down to eat? He's a failure.
And he couldn't face us.
He'll eat later. And stop making the federal case out of a traffic ticket.
It's not the traffic ticket, it's the flunking.
Imagine a dad flunking.
Twice.
Eddie Rivas flunked chemistry twice.
How come?
He was stupid.
Dad isn't exactly stupid.
He's a very smart man. Ask anybody.
And then how come he flunked? Twice.
Stop saying that. It was conditions beyond his control. Like when the TV picture goes kerflooey.
Yeah.
There's got to be a scientific answer, even for that.
Look, you guys, it's times like this a guy needs his family. When you kids are in trouble, your dad don't go around asking a lot of foolish questions. He's right on hand to help. This time he's in trouble.
Right.
Right. With Robbie eating out, that makes me the older son. It's up to me to have a man-to-man talk with Dad.
Right.
Come on, eat.
Livingston, everybody, if you're just joining us. Pamelyn.
I'm curious to know, how was it working as a child compared to working as an adult?
You got 30 seconds.
Is it, as a child, it's all instinctual. You just, you either have a gift for timing and learning your lines and natural being relaxed. And of course, the older you get, the more you screw things up, in your head. You're trying too hard, trying not hard enough.
But as you grew older, you now had to perform on stage in front of an audience, where you never did.
No, and the difference is that you have to make that transition if you really want to continue as an actor in the business to learn your craft. Craft was just something that came natural as a kid. But as I got older, I studied with people like Martin Landau and Jack Carfine and Harold Clurman and
John Cassavetes.
John Cassavetes, and I went to New York and worked on Broadway and off Broadway, and so at the advice of Roddy McDowall, who was one of the great child stars of the 20s and 30s, 40s, I guess. He said, that's what he did. He went to New York and I did that, and I'm ever glad that I did.
Well, you're still working
Yes.
as an actor. And don't you have an upcoming Fugitive?
Yes, there's a new platform, a new distribution app called Quibi, and The Fugitive with Kiefer Sutherland is going to be one of their premiere shows, Yes, yes, I have.
But you also have a recurring role on Bosch.
On Bosch, I've been on Bosch for the last 3 years, and this will be their last season coming up. And
what do you play on Bosch?
I'm the medical examiner.
The medical examiner.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah, so dead to me. I've got something
What's
coming
always
up too.
surprising to me, Barry, was Pamelyn was on the show, My
Yes,
Three Sons.
yeah.
And you were telling me before the show that oftentimes, and Pamelyn said you guys were on the same show, but you never saw each other.
I never saw Fred McMurray, let alone Pamelyn.
Well,
Yeah,
here's what I want to
we
do.
were-
I want you to see a clip
Oh,
of,
good.
of
Good.
Pamelyn in My
good.
Three Sons.
Okay.
Then you were in that episode, but you never worked together in a scene. And so she never met you until today. So
Wow.
that's so
I thought you were going to
crazy.
reenact that scene or something that we did together.
Let's watch,
Okay.
okay? Let's watch Pamelyn, My Three Sons.
Wow, fantastic.
Well, it's certainly delicious, Ellen.
It's only my lamb stew.
I want some bread.
But that was now, but you're dead. I'm sorry. Now what are you yelling about? You get upstairs. You get upstairs. You come on out. I've had enough of you, young lady. Upstairs. Come on.
Pamelyn!
Wow, what a brat.
I had a good set of lungs on
Oh
me.
my God.
Jeez,
That
that
is
was more emotion than anybody ever exhibited in the entire 12 years on it.
We're surprised you with that.
That was
You
great.
never,
That was great.
It's strange to me that you wouldn't see each other on the set, but you told
probably
me
in
that
the
even,
school,
you told me that Martin Sheen came up
Marty
to you and
Sheen,
said,
yeah.
what did he tell you?
Well, he said, hey, you remember when I was on the show? You remember me? And I was like, no. Not really. I mean, no offense. I know you were there, and retrospectively, yeah, I've heard that you were on the show. But a lot of people rolled through there. I think Harrison Ford did it. Ryan O'Neal was the original Robbie on the show.
That I
And
don't remember,
he
yeah.
apparently, the story that I'd heard is that Fred didn't think he was funny. And during the pilot, and they recast it as before it hit the air and cast Don Grady in his part. Of course, Ryan went on to have an incredible career as a comedian in film, so he was probably very happy that happened.
Yeah.
Well, a little birdie told me that you have a good story about Elvis.
Boy, yes, I was doing a film at Paramount called My Six Loves with Debbie Reynolds and Cliff Robertson, David Jansen, and all those people. And you got time on the lot, when you're working. And I used to love to explore the studio, and I still do, even when I work today. I love to just walk around. And I came across this mile-long white Cadillac. Door was open, idling outside of a sound stage, and I was like, wow, that's great, cool, and looked in, oh man, there's a TV in it, this was like early 60s. I was like, that's incredible. And then I hear this voice, hey son, you like my car? Or some terrible Elvis imitation. But I turned around and it was Elvis, and I went, oh my, wow, oh, and he goes, Chuck Barris just fixed it up for me, I brought it by. You want to take a ride? And I was like, yeah, sure. So, Elvis and I climbed into the back of the limo.
Very cool.
Did a very slow crawl around the lot, and he was shooting some movie there. I don't know what it was, but we didn't talk much. We just kind of turned on a cartoon Popeye or something. Watched that on his TV, which I thought, man, we finally arrived in the future. You can watch TV in a car. I'd never seen anything like that.
We have a clip. Another clip of your work with Ozzie Nelson.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and you actually worked on Ozzie and Harriet before
I did.
you did My Three Sons.
I did 16 episodes of the Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, which he never adventured beyond the malt shop, but it was an adventure. Yes, they were great.
I'd like to show that clip.
Oh,
a
I'd love to
clip
see
of
it.
you with Ozzie.
Love to
I think
see
you'll
that.
like seeing it.
I'd
I think
love
our
to see
audience
that.
will too. Let's watch.
Well, how do you feel, Barry?
Pretty good.
I understand you decided not to have your tonsils taken out.
I sure did, boy.
If it's because of that little skit we put on this morning, that was just a gag. A big joke. It was supposed to be funny.
I know that, but I'm not going to have my tonsils taken out.
Oh, come on, Barry. Just because we put on a silly sketch. There's nothing to it. It's a simple operation.
Have you had yours taken out yet?
Well, no, I didn't have to.
Then how do you know?
Both Dave and Rick had theirs taken out, and it didn't bother them at all.
Are you sure?
Well, of course I'm sure. You can ask them.
Did you take them out or Dr. Williams?
No, Dr. Williams did.
What would you do, Mr. Nelson?
You mean if I were you?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think I'd say to myself, Dr. Williams says I need this operation. Thousands of other boys and girls have gone through it. I can be just as brave as they are.
Are you still talking to yourself, or are you talking to me now?
I'm talking to you. What do you say?
Okay, I'll do it.
Good for you. I knew you would.
Mr. Nelson?
Yeah?
Will you go with me?
What do you mean?
I want you to stand right there and watch the whole thing. Make sure he does it right.
Okay, if Dr. Williams will let me.
Mr. Nelson?
Yeah?
Will you promise me one thing?
What's that?
Don't let him take out anything but my tonsils.
Oh, yeah.
So cute.
Barry Livingston, everybody.
Wow. That was good advice, too. I wanted to don't take out anything but the tonsils.
Speaking of advice, relax and listen. I heard those were vital.
I was thinking that.
Vital advice, some advice to you. Can you describe
well, that was the first
how that came
great
about?
acting advice, and it's sort of acting 101, is that Ozzie said, because I think it came about because one of the first episodes I did was eating ice cream. And I got so into eating ice cream, I just forgot about my lines, just kept eating ice cream, which he thought was very, very funny. And it looked real, because that's what a kid would do.
Right.
If you put a giant bowl of ice cream, you're going to eat ice cream. And I was like, oh, okay, right. And they're like, oh, Rick's here too? Okay, go. But he said, okay, now what I want you to do is that when somebody else is talking, just look at them, listen to what they're saying, and you don't have to think about anything other than what I've written for you to say. Just say that back to them. So, it's listening and responding, and I went, that's still the essence of good acting. There's a lot of other layers and things, but it was a great lesson, and that came from Ozzie.
Yeah. Did you you worked how many episodes of Ozzie and Harriet?
16.
And how did you then cross over into My Three Sons from that?
Well, it was, again, I was
brother.
a familiar face on the My Three Sons set, because my brother was working all the time, and I would go over there when I wasn't.
But you always played the neighbor kid, right?
Yeah, initially I was
the neighbor.
I was the neighbor, and in My Three Sons, I was my brother's friend, and we would be in the same classes at school and all that. Of course, then when I became a brother, I was adopted.
Right.
I suddenly was 3 years younger, a different school. It all kind of changed a little bit. But, yeah.
But you're constantly reinventing yourself. I've read that in your book, that you're constantly having to, over the years, change what's going on in your life.
Well, losing my hair had a little bit something to do with reinventing myself, but it was a good thing, at first it was like, oh boy, now what? Now can't be that young, college student anymore.
I heard a quote, "You're out of the game," you said.
Well, probably, yeah. Somebody probably said that to me, or something like of that nature. But I just eventually it became the doctor. I started going out for doctor roles and lawyer roles and accountant roles and scientist roles and those kind of bald-headed, bright people. And I went, oh, okay, I get it. That's the next phase in my career, because I couldn't play like a little kid anymore.
Now, you wrote a book called The Importance of Being Ernie.
Yes.
What made you decide, because I've written a book about my life, and what made you decide to write a book, and what is it about?
It's about the theory of relativity, actually. Everything's relative. No, I had just finished a film for David Fincher called The Social Network, and I'd worked with him on Zodiac, And I was kind of on a roll. I was doing the You Don't Mess with the Zohan with Adam Sandler, and I kind of thought, I see bookends here, where I began strong.
Right.
We worked a lot after My Three Sons, and then there was that lull, and but I always worked. I never did anything but act. I mean, I went to New York, worked there, did a lot of theater around the country. But then, when I lost my hair, and I really look at like Doogie Howser as the sort of the first really adult role that I had. I was playing a doctor on the role, on the series. And so that was an upswing, and then it just kept building and building. And so to answer your question, I kind of thought, interesting, I'm kind of at a point in my life that I should look back and try to put it into some context. And I felt like good about where I was at. So that was the logic, and I thought maybe I could make a buck.
Well, we've got about a minute left, unfortunately. You've got to tell us a story about your visit to the White House.
Oh, okay.
You got about a minute.
Oh, no, I'll try to make it fast.
Make it
well,
fast.
I went to the Clinton
story.
White House, and it was during the height of the incident that had occurred there. And but we were invited for a Sunday night tour of the West Wing, and my son was with me, and he was 9, 10 years old, and we had like snacks, trying to keep him up. It was 10 o'clock at night. I was giving him, pretzels and stuff like that. Anyway, he bit one. We're standing at the Oval Office. A little velvet rope can't go in. He bites it, and this thing snaps in half, and just like a missile flies in, and this big pretzel's laying on the rug. And I'm going, I don't know, maybe I should reach over and get it. That probably wouldn't go, because we saw the Secret Service was watching us really, really intense. So I thought, I'll just leave it. I don't know, So we walked down a little further down the hallway, and I pull out a pretzel and I start to eat it. And I'm swarmed by Secret Service guys. So they push me up against the wall. And they go, "You're the guy who threw the pretzel into the office." I go, "What? Huh? What?" And they're like, "We found that." And apparently I'm going, well, there must be some real high-tech sensors that somebody threw a foreign object into the thing, and they...
It's a great story.
And anyway, yes. I didn't blame it on my son. I took the heat for it.
Everybody, Barry Livingston. Well, that's our show for tonight. So for our guest, Barry Livingston, and our co-host, Pamela Ferdin, and for director Nick Ferretti and the entire KBL crew, I'm Ken Boxer. Good night, everybody, and thank you all very much for coming. Thank you.
Ken Boxer Live is brought to you by the following sponsors. Terry Ryken, your broker with a personal touch for all your real estate needs. Gustafson DANCE, meeting the highest standards in dance training. Spa-Cia, the best in Santa Barbara for holistic facials, waxing, and massage. The Daily Grind, espresso, juice, and deli. SPUDNUTS Donuts. Zodos Bowling and Beyond, and Z's Tap House for the best in family entertainment. Persona Wood-Fired Pizzeria. It's simply delicious. The Magic Castle Cabaret, your one and only place to see magic in Santa Barbara. The Eagle Inn, a family-owned hotel near the beach in Santa Barbara. Patrini's Family Restaurant. La Quinta Inn and Suites. Country Catering, Meat Market and Deli. Lito's Takeout. Jack's Bagels and Bistro. The Ken Boxer Live musical theme composed and arranged by Mr. Michael J. Leslie. From all of us at Ken Boxer Live, I'm Baron Ron Heron. Good night, everyone.